So, look, I think one thing that can happen in sports talk radio is second guess guy. If you just want to second guess everything, here's one thing that you never have to be is wrong. You can just sit back, wait, and argue the result. You get it right because you argue the result. So we go out of our way to try and first guess moves. In the moment when they make a move, you come out and say why you disagree with that move. Yesterday, I made the argument that I would not start Magnus Hellberg in game 1. And while he had some good moments, he also had some moments that I would describe as some goals he gave up, I would describe as soft. And I think the Mickey line last night during the broadcast, when you say something like, well, he'll probably tell you that's when he wants back, is basically saying that. The Giroux goal, where not his fault that it was a breakaway.
No, not his fault it was a breakaway, but his fault when Giroux gets tugged on. There's a hooking penalty about to be called. Giroux has lost control of the puck, no longer has control of the puck, and Hellberg at that moment was also trying to poke check it, and somehow the puck gets underneath his stick and then goes between his legs and in the net without Giroux even really touching it.
Yeah.
That was soft.
I can't remember who went glove side on him where he just slid out of the. I get that it's back to back, and there could be more to the story. I also want to point that out. There could be a Ville Husso walking into Derek Lalonde's office and saying, I need tomorrow off. Okay? There could be a lot of other things that lead to this decision. So I'm not killing Derek Lalonde here today. But it was a move we first guessed yesterday. And to be fair, Hellberg made some good saves.
He made a couple spectacular saves in that game.
A penalty kill, he did a great job. But the bottom line here, Gator, is that's what I was afraid of for a guy who's played once in a month, A. And B, I like the idea of winning the first and putting Ottawa in the must-win game, too. There's a lot of pressure on the Red Wings tonight to win this game. This is a regular season hockey game with some pressure to win. And if you win the first and come back with Hellberg, now you're giving Husso another day off before the game Thursday, because I'm assuming he's going to play Thursday against Seattle.
I would assume he does as well, and then they have the back-to-back games on Saturday and Sunday after the trade deadline, and then they have a couple days off and they play on a Wednesday. So, yeah, I understand it. And it's something that's troubling to me, though, is they only scored twice. They had golden opportunities again last night and couldn't bury the puck, and it's not like Ottawa is some juggernaut of a team. Ottawa is struggling. They're trying to get some momentum going, so maybe they can make a push here, and those 2 points help them because now they're, 2 points behind the Wings?
Yes.
So that helps them out. They've got some talent on that team. That team played really, really hard last night, and they deserved a win, and they got the win.
Yep. Now, I get it. Now, Husso's got an extra day off before today's. I would prefer that he gets the extra day off before the Seattle game as opposed to this game. I mean, calling it a must-win is ridiculous, but it's a big game for them. And the Red Wings came out of the locker room after the loss to Tampa this weekend and said, hey, one of the things that we've gotten very good at is not getting too high after wins or too low after losses. We come back and play the next game. That wasn't their best performance. They gave up a ton of odd man rushes. They were too many penalties and other stuff that went wrong. But that was a first guess move. Now, as I mentioned, there could be more to this story, but Hellberg was not as sharp as he needed to be. Did they win that game with Ville Husso? The way the team played in front of him? Probably not. But is it a lot closer than it turned out being, which it turned into a laugher? Then I would argue that absolutely with Ville Husso and that. Now, we'll see how tough they are tonight. We'll see how mature they are tonight. We'll see if all that talk about, hey, we can bounce back. Hey, we don't get too high, too low. We'll see if that's true tonight.
Well, they're going to have to. And last night, it's interesting. The news came out today that Jake Wallman has signed a 3-year extension, which I think is good. He's the top defensive pair with Mo Sider. I like Wallman. I like the way he's played this year. But Wallman got rocked last night a couple of times where he staggered to get back to the bench and to the point where he wasn't even in the play. He's just limped over. He's hunched over and he's limping at the same time. If you can limp on skates, but you can tell that he's just in trouble. And the puck is still in their zone, and he's got to go back. And he's like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" And then he has to play the puck behind the net, and he gets drilled again behind the net. And I'm like, this poor guy just wants to get off the ice. He's hurt. And then, oh man! But it was just kind of how the night went last night. He signed to an extension. I think that's good news for the Wings. But last night showed they've got work to do defensively and they got work to do offensively. 2 goals isn't going to cut it in the NHL. You're not going to win games like that unless it's, you get down to a nail biter in the playoffs. Then you need to do that, but you got to find ways to get more scoring.
Well, the fact that the Wings did sign a player to an extension last night, does that tell you anything on Larkin? Can you read any tea leaves in that? Like, hey, they're obviously able to negotiate during the year with the trade deadline. I
still think it's all much ado about nothing. I think the Larkin deal gets done, and they'll announce it when they announce it. It's the Bertuzzi one that's interesting.
Do you think the Larkin deal gets done at the end of the year or before the trade deadline?
I don't know. I don't think they'll get it done before the trade deadline, but I think they'll get it done.
I think they might have to get that one done. But the amount of money they're apart isn't much. I think I know what Yzerman's trying to do, which is set an in-house salary cap, and unless you're better than Larkin, you're not getting more than this much. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. The Bertuzzi one's the one that's interesting.